good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, depending on whether you're probably furthest west that's awake at the moment in the west of Ireland, all the way over to Japan, Australia, New Zealand. I know get people joining from around there. So it's good to see a nice number attending. We've got a good show for you today lined up with lots of information. Let me just tell you the show is starting. There we go. And what we've noticed with these shows is that people join a little late. Congratulations to those of you who've joined on time, but we will find that over the next 2 or 3 minutes we get the bulk of people actually logging in. So let me give you some information just to help you during the show. There is a question button on your screen on the far right hand side, I hope. There should be some buttons that look like these. One of them is questions. We can't unmute you all with so many people on the call, but you can ask questions as we go along. So as I'm speaking, as you're seeing demonstrations, as people are talking, jot any questions you have into there and we'll collect them all up. At the end of the show, we'll have an open forum with our guests and we'll try and answer as many as we can. Although we don't plan to keep you here for more than 45 minutes. We want to move through things pretty quickly. So looking at what we did in the last show, if you joined us in the last show, it's a month ago now, we produced these boxes to contain postcards. And I've got a quick video here to show you that just gives you an idea of what happened during that show. And I must remember to turn my mic on so I can tell you all about it as it comes through. Just takes a second to load, so bear with me while this loads up. Okay, so this is what happened on the last show. We printed onto some CKB craft board. It's a double-sided board, white on one side, craft on the other. Almost just mono on one side, but the great thing is it showed through the quality of the print. Then we turned over and printed the second side in very high quality. Then we moved over to Germany and we joined Joe at Harrison Bruno. He showed us the coating of the sheets with a UV coat, and they looked great when he'd done with them. He then went over to Israel and Iran, showed us creasing, laser cutting, and also stripping out the waste pieces so that we had on each sheet 3 boxes. He had some postcards we pre-produced and popped them inside, and we produced those in quite an entertaining fashion, I hoped. I think a lot of people enjoyed seeing that. So let's just move back to my presentation screen here. Okay, so the boxes were produced. We pre-produced some cards, but we're going to do some more today. And what we have is 3 sets. One set is called the Fishermen of Ross. They're the black and white set on the left. All of these photos taken by Michael Patillo, a photographer based in Brussels. Then we did a set called Brexit Country. And you may have heard the story about what happened with this set. This set got totally lost somewhere between Europe and the UK in a strange reflection of reality. Somehow we couldn't get Brexit delivered. And there was also a set called The Green Lung of Brussels, quite a colourful set that Michael produced as well. And these are the subject of what we're going to be doing today. Now, what we had as a result of the first show was some orders that we haven't fulfilled yet. And there weren't, thousands. So it's a pretty simple job for us to send 39% of them Brexit country. You'll see there's a narrow margin of victory for Brexit in this particular poll. The Fishermen of Ross, 35%, and the Green Lung of Brussels, 26%. So it's a reasonably straightforward job for us to deliver those to the various people that requested them. But imagine if we were a printer based in this fictitious country that we've dreamed up, and printing a number of different kinds of cards for different outlets around the coast. So that's where postcards probably sell the most. These sets we're imagining are offered for sale in 9 locations around the coast. And we've got set A, Brexit Country, set 3, the Rost, and C is Brussels. So what we got to imagine here is we get orders from each shop, and each shop is giving us different quantities that they want. They're restocking their shelves, they're putting packs on the shelves, they're perhaps expanding because some lines are selling particularly well, and each shop is giving us a different quantity of a different order. And probably this, in an efficient operation, these orders are coming in over the web, maybe with a web to print system, where each retailer logs in at the end of each day or the end of each week and orders what they need for the next selling period. So there's quite a few different orders here. In a traditional sense, if we were running offset, for example, we'd print a lot of Brexit country, then we'd print a lot of Fishermen of Ross, then we'd print a lot of Greenlung of Brussels, and then we'd have to collate and put them all together. And very soon, if you can imagine, we're not only managing inventory for these shops, but also for lots of other vendors, lots of other customers, not just postcards, but maybe also point of sale posters, maybe different books, maybe different publications. We can soon get to the situation that we're storing a lot of things, and we've got quite a big operation where we've possibly got even more storage than we have production space. And when you've got these kind of issues, then you have to work out the problems of storage. You have to think about staffing to move all this stock around. You've got to think about picking and how you pick these orders in a good, timely fashion, and the number of staff you have, the handling of all of that going in and out of warehouses and shipping. You've got to think about slow moving stock. What if a particular set stops selling? What if next year Brexit doesn't sell at all because it's all done and dusted? And what about wastage? What about having slow moving stock on the shelves that eventually the owner says, well, we're going to throw these away now, which isn't good for the environment. So there must be a better way of doing this. So going back to our map here, you can see that basically we've got a load of boxes that we need to make. We want to make up a box for location 1, a box for location 2, box for location 3, all containing the right contents. And wouldn't it be great if on my conveyor belt I could produce in delivery order, the order they'll go onto my truck or van, every box coming out the back of the finishing machine with each item produced in the right order. So there's no collation, there's no worry about getting orders wrong because everything's coming out in the right order and identified. So this is my ideal world. Everything's lined up there, ready to go onto the truck or the van, go out of the door and being delivered. And there's no storage taking place. Everything's printed on demand. Now I'm going to need some help with that. I'm here in my home office in the middle of England with no means of producing anything. So we need somebody to help us out. And as we had last time at the show from Brussels, we've got Kim and we've got Martin, who are hopefully by magic going to appear on your screens and turn their camera on. There they are.
Hello, Mark. Hey, Mark.
Hi, guys. You both well?
Yes, yes, thank you.
Yeah. Good. We had a little issue at the end of last week where there was a possible exposure to infection for these guys, and they had to work at home the rest of last week. So rehearsals were all fraught, but you're both well and certified.
Yep. We're all fine and we're back in the office.
Excellent, good. And then over in Japan, furthest east we've been so far with the Real Production Show is Colin and Yun-san, and they're over not far from Kyoto. And hopefully they can turn their camera on just so we can say hi to them.
Hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark. Hey, guys, are you well?
Doing great.
Excellent. Okay, we'll come back to you later. Let me just introduce a few things and print some cards, and then we'll come over to you in a few minutes. Thanks very much. Okay, thanks guys. So let me move on here and tell you just how we're going to produce the cards and something behind what's important when we're producing these cards to think about. And I ran through most of these points in the last show, but a couple of points I'd like to recap on. One is the industry-leading quality. And one thing we're going to say about quality on JetPress is quality isn't just about printing pretty colors. It's not just about printing sharp text. It's about doing it all the time. It's about doing consistently from one sheet to the next. And also about the JetPress being very productive for short-run print. And in fact, here, we're not doing just short-run print. We're actually printing in the order that these jobs will want to come out of Horizon's finishing equipment. So it's far more than just doing short-run. It's doing variable print on the fly in the right order as we need. So last time we looked at this chart as well that showed us the overlap between offset and digital that JetPress provides. And particularly what I want to point out on this occasion is our sheet-to-sheet registration accuracy and our quality. And these are going to be very important to Colin and Yun when we send these sheets over to Japan. They don't want the image moving around on the sheet and being in a different place each time. It's going to make their finishing job very difficult. And that's the reason that why on the JetPress, we decided against putting drawers on the front of the press to put paper in. We decided that the best thing to do was to have an offset feed with side lays and front lays. And this allows us to keep everything really accurate. Now, looking at how a digital press normally works, most digital presses will just center the sheet, and they'll have an accuracy on the top end of their best devices, probably at around 0.5 of a millimeter either way. And when you combine that with the sheets being double-sided, then you can see the margin for error is quite wide. On JetPress, we're using a standard offset feed and grippers, and so we're getting our accuracy down to 0.1 or less. So the accuracy is a lot better. It's what you'd expect from offset print. So that's one thing about quality, is keeping image in the same place all the time. Also, it's about color and repeatability of color. So with JetPress, when we went to Fogra to say, can you certify our press as a reliable and repeatable press, we went through the normal standards that are used, but when they finished the testing, they said to us, hang on a minute, we could actually produce a set of tests that will certify the JetPress as a contract proofer. And this is a first. No one else has managed this yet, and it's nearly 2 years ago now that we achieved it, that we were certified by Fogra on standard 1264-7, which is for contract proofing. So rather than a validation proof, which is for content, this is a validation proof, a contract proof that means the color is certified for contracts. If you look on the Fogra website, and I can send you a link if you're really interested, and look at what's being certified as a proofing system, then when you look through all the machines in there, they're mainly proofers from Epson, even going back to Iris days. But they're inkjet roll-fed proofing presses. They're not production presses. JetPress is the only production press that's been certified as a contract proofer. And rather than normally with contract proofs where you get a proof every, at best, 8 minutes at B2 size, on the JetPress you're getting them every second. So it really is a very fast proofing press, and far more obviously than just a proofing press. So just summing up then about JetPress. When we talk about JetPress, we talk about on-the-floor productivity. We're not just talking about the speed the press runs at, we're speaking about the amount it can produce in a shift. Because we're not making plates, because we have no make ready to worry about, because we're not changing a large number of consumable components, we're not changing blankets, we're not changing plates, we're not changing the digital equivalent of those with digital plates and blankets. All we're doing is inkjetting straight onto the substrate. Also with the JetPress, we get software integration, and this is something we're working with Horizon on, is using the JDF standard that we can get from our workflow and feeding it into the finishing equipment at Horizon. Now today we're keeping it simple with just barcodes because they're a lot more easy to see and understand what's happening when we've got an audience like we have today. We're printing a barcode on the sheet that will be used later. And then downstream productivity really is what it's all about as far as Horizon are concerned. They want sheets that are the same all the time, every time. When we're printing things in exact order that need to go out the door, we can't afford for sheets to be wasted because the image is in the wrong position or there's a problem with the image quality. So I'm going to ask Martin and Kim to join us now and talk us through how we can handle this over in the APTC, which is our Advanced Print Technology Centre in Brussels. Hi again, guys. Can you take it from here and tell us how you were prepared this job?
Yes, we will do.
Okay, I'll turn off my camera.
Okay.
I'll turn off my camera and give you the screen.
Okay. So welcome everybody. Welcome in APTC in Brussels. This is the Fujifilm Advanced Technology Center. So we are the Demonstration Technical Center for Fujifilm for JetPress. I'm Martin Goethals, and my colleague Kim is also here to show you the machine.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I will show you the machine today.
Okay, so we'll have a look in how to handle the challenge Mark has given us in optimizing print and finishing for the postcard job, and see how we can handle this best.
Yes, the Mark challenge.
Yes, the Mark challenge. So as we are digital press, we basically can print in any order that is given us or requested by us. So the printing actually is relatively easy on the JetPress itself.
Yes, correct. So so the challenge is more in the software and collecting all the data together. Printing itself is rather easy in terms of, for the machine, it doesn't really matter if you are printing in collate or variable data or in static jobs. For the machine, print speed and quality always stays the same. So the maximum speed we are printing is always 3,600 sheets per hour.
Okay, that's good to know. So let's have a closer look at the challenge we have to do. So we are getting orders in through a web portal, as Mark has explained, from different shops. These are then gathered by the front-end system or the web portal. And of course, we have to set up a communication to XMF. This happens over XMF controller, who is handling all the information coming in through the web portal.
So normally in normal circumstances, you would say, okay, we have 3 different products. Yeah, so the Fisherman, we have Brussels, and we have Brexit. You normally would say, okay, let's group them all together and then print them in different batches. Now in this case, we are not really printing it this traditional way, but we are choosing to have it not more in order of delivery, actually, to every different shop.
Okay, so we will, like on the spreadsheet below, so we will get the jobs in bundled per shop, and then we have a look at how it goes into our system. So the web portal receives the data and then sends that information to XMF. And what is XMF then doing with all the data it's getting?
Yeah, so the web portal can gather the information on multiple days. It doesn't need to be the same day. This information goes to XMF controller, and XMF controller is basically triggering the copy count, the correct imposition, the correct color profile, and very important, adds a specific JDF QR code on the imposition. So later on, when we go to the finishing exactly knows all this information.
Okay, so in the background, in an automatic way, XMF is taking care of all of that, and the information for which finishing device, so that we have 2 types of postcards. We have the postcards that will be finished on the Smart Stacker, and we have the postcards with rounded edges that will be finished on the rotary die. We'll need a different imposition template, and this is then done automatically. And with the added QR code, we provide also all information towards the Horizon finishing equipment on how the layout and the finishing, the cutting or die cutting should look like. Is that correct, Kim?
Yep, correct. So you can see an example here below. So this is for the Smart Stacker. So we're choosing here to have an imposition for the different Brussels, Fisherman, and the Brexit one. And then we are separating actually the sheet for every single shop. So this helps us, or basically helps the finishing when it's coming out of the machine, to really separate shop by shop, so it's easy to gather.
Okay, so, and we are adding, as I can see, we're adding a third job, a poster job.
Yep.
Which will make the gathering at the end for putting in boxes quite visible for the people at the finishing device to see every separation between shop 1 and shop 2, shop 3 and shop 4.
Yeah. And on this separation sheet, address can be added, day of printing and whatever might be necessary.
Okay, so I think we can start the machine. The second layout that you see now is a layout for the rotary die, which is the sheet will be cut in half, and then it goes through the rotary die. But I suggest that we have a closer look at the machine. Yep. And have a see how all of that works. So Kim, over to you.
Yeah. So so we start at the first end of the machine is a standard Ryobi offset feeder. What is the advantages here on the feeder, as Mark already mentioned? We have here the advantage that we have a front and side lay system. What do we mean with the front and side lay system? So if I'm taking a sheet basically like this, So it's actually aligning the sheet on the long edge and also on a certain reference corner. So you can have basically this end or the other end basically as your reference corner. So there is a pull guide that will always pull the sheet to the correct corner. So every time when you're doing, for example, duplex work or simplex work, when you're turning over the sheet, you're actually using the same reference corner. So you're changing the side lay to make sure that front and back side is nicely matching. After feeding the paper, we are using standard traditional offset stock, yeah. And to be able to print on this stock, we are adding a primer, a water-based primer on top of the sheet. So we are putting actually a very thin layer of primer on top of the sheet. This is invisible, and this will allow the ink not to penetrate straight into the material, but it will actually, the drop will be nice and sharp. So you see in traditional analog system, and here you can see a print with and without primer. So you can see that the print with primer is very nicely detailed. Then we go over to the jetting unit. So this is basically the most important part. So the jetting unit is existing out of 4 colors, CMYK, yeah. When the heads are in the print position, they are basically made in a kind of a vibration block and this will allow you to always have a nice color registration. Then the heads go to the correct height and the jetting straight onto the paper. So you have contactless printing. So the sheet is actually passing underneath the print heads, and in single pass, all 4 colors will be jetted on top of each other. Then we go over to the to the scanner system. So after printing, we are scanning the sheet. So on every sheet, we are printing what we like to call a nozzle control strip. And this nozzle control strip will be read by the machine. And imagine that you have a failing nozzle or you have a deviated nozzle. Automatically, this will be corrected by the machine. So this is not something an operator needs to worry about. This is all happening on the background, and also the software will automatically correct if needed. Then we go to the drying section. So we have the drying section. The drying section is working with 2 components. So we are blowing hot air on top of the printed area, and then the sheet itself is sitting on a vacuum belt, and this vacuum belt is also preheated. This is to make sure we have nice and flat and dry sheets. Then after drying, of course, we need to cool down the sheet. So it's the same principle. We are blowing cold air on top of the sheet, and then we are delivering it. So in the meantime, we arrived here at the delivery section, and as you can see, we are now printing different jobs now. Yeah. So allow me to take a sheet out. So in the meantime, we are already printing some rotary die in positions, yeah. So the rotary die, so we are basically doing a step and repeat job, and then later on the sheet will be cut in half. So again here registration is then of course very important to make sure that you can easily finish this later on, yeah. Let's take another one. Mark, here we go. Here we have the Brexit ones. So
Hooray.
later on we can send them over. Yeah. So this is a little bit how the machine works, how it's being printing.
Okay, maybe we can have a closer look at the registration.
Yeah, good idea. Have a closer look. Let's take some sheets out. Yeah. Camera system is not ideal, of course. This is not included with the machine. So let's see. Let's take one for the. So this is the imposition for the smart sticker. Let's have a closer look to the registration. So I'm basically with a pin, I'm penetrating a small pin through the cut marks, And then we can see quite easily that I'm doing a bad job here, so I will do it again. Here we go.
So
And then we can see here, I hope the cameraman can
you can get
zoom
closer.
in. So bear with me, guys. So I penetrated a hole here, and then you
Yep.
will see on the other side.
And that's of course thanks to the front and side lay that we have a perfect stable registration.
Yep.
Okay.
And even although it's already quite stable, even the machine allows you on top of that to even make some extra corrections if needed on the X and Y position.
And this stability of positioning on print with an accuracy of 0.1 millimeter or less
Yep.
is of course completely different than what you have on standard POD devices.
Yep. So yeah, now we are printing postcards, but yeah, you can do much more than only print these type of applications. So also in combination.
Maybe let's have a look at the sample table.
Yep. Let's go over. So.
So behind Kim, you can see our sample table. And then Kim can go give a short overview of other things, other applications we have.
So let's have a look. What do we have here? For example, some saddle stitch finishing. So we have some nice brochures here with a standard saddle stitch. So a very vibrant, nice colors. Yeah. Some nice detailed images.
And all of these things have, of course, been finished on the Horizon finishing equipment. Not
correct,
today, but
some nice solid gray, always challenging. Well, not for JetPress, so you can always challenge me on this. All right. We have also a black version.
So that's a perfect bind.
Explains a little bit more about the machine. Also packaging as possible.
Okay. And what else?
So let's see what else do we have. So we can also have some nice finished books with some glue. So this one, for example, so this is then printed in collate mode. So you are printing actually from the last sheet to the first sheet. So we have basically a complete book block, yeah. And then you can cut them or with the guillotine or with the smart stacker, and then you can finish them off with a cover and glue it together, and you have one. So no need to gather all these things. We have also a photo book here. So this photo book is printed on a standard silk material. Yeah. So it's not a special pre-treated inkjet material. This is standard quality paper. And due to the fact that we are putting our primer on top of this material, we allow us to have very high, nice quality on standard silk stock. What else do we have here? This is maybe also, as we are now in the photo book business, this is also a very nice application. So it looks like a book, yeah. But this is actually kind of surprise inside. So we have here some pictures inside or some images. So these are
a kind of album with loose pictures.
Yes, so some very nice children in here. These are then 13 by 18 framed. So this is a very nice application to really be able to finish them and also to pack them in an original way and to give it during Christmas to the grandmother, for example.
And I can see some packaging samples standing behind.
Yeah, we have also some packaging. So for example, I have 2 applications here. So we have these small boxes. This can be finished. I'm losing them. All right, here we go.
It's definitely live.
Yeah, there's always something that needs to go wrong, and it's my clumsy hands.
Yeah, and lucky it's not the one with the beer in.
Yes, yeah, that would be a shame. So these are some golf ball boxes. Can be also finished on the rotary die, and they have a nice high UV gloss. And then we have also a different option. These are Plantex. These are printed on UPO QFF 400. Yeah, and this is also then finished on the rotary die. So that's also some applications you can do.
So although JetPress is using water-based ink, we can print on synthetic media, on some synthetic media.
Yep, correct.
Okay.
So gives a nice idea. Then some boxes with beer. I will not drop this one. I will be careful now. So these are also some samples you can do. Yes, we do have beer here. Now I need to be careful not dropping it. Yeah. And this is printed, for example, on a standard craft material. Yeah. And then finished off with the Scodix
Spot varnish.
spot varnish.
Okay, and I think that brings us back to our story with our postcards, because they also need finishing with varnish.
Yep, correct.
That's right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. They do. Thanks very much, Kim and Martin. That's great.
Okay.
I have got a short video of the coating that we did before we sent these sheets over to Japan. So I'll get that going now. Okay. Thanks,
Okay,
guys.
we'll
Join us at the end for questions. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Right. Bear with me while I get this movie rolling. And this takes a second to load. I will also remember to unmute myself when it starts. So this is where we used our Excel Coat ZR30 that's in the showroom. See, compared to the last unit you saw at the last show, this is quite a small, compact unit. It's hand-fed, very simple to operate. You can put on here, as you saw in the previous video, an auto feeder. You can even put it in line with JetPress with a bridge if you wanted to do that. So it's quite flexible in that way, but this is a smaller system with coating here without UV. Actually, this is water-based into a standard drop collection. But again, delivery options, there's all kinds of different options that Harris and Bruno can offer. So that was what we did very quickly before we sent these sheets over to Horizon. There's the coating we used. It's a Pressmax range Fujifilm product. So I'm hoping that Colin is around and he can join us now with his team over at the Horizon Innovation Park. There he is, Colin.
Hi, Mark. How you doing?
Looking good, looking very smart there.
Thank you very much. And I want to thank you, Mark, for Fujifilm sending over these beautiful flowers for the opening of our brand new Horizon Innovation Park.
Excellent. I'm glad they arrived in good condition, although I cannot take credit for sending them personally. But that's a tradition in Japan, yeah, is to send flowers at the opening.
Absolutely. It's a tradition to send flowers for an opening of a facility or when you anger your wife.
I'm glad this is a good news sending of flowers then. Okay, I'm going to hand over to you. I'm not going to hang around here chatting. Please help us out with finishing off these cards and show us your great facility there.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Again, I would like to welcome everybody to Horizon Innovation Park here in beautiful Shiga, Japan. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Horizon, who we are and what we do, we are an industry leader in the field of digital print finishing, and we are the only manufacturer to produce the full line of solutions for every step in the finishing process, including folders, cutters, saddle stitchers, perfect binders, collators, die cutters, and even tabletop equipment. At the core of Horizon's innovation has always been simple to use automation and optimized operator user interfaces, making our machines easy to use. In the traditionally labor-intensive industry of finishing, you always need to have highly skilled, experienced workers in your shop. However, nowadays, those workers are hard to find and even harder to keep. Through the power of automation, we here at Horizon are creating solutions that minimize touch points and help reduce the reliance on skilled operators to reduce our labor costs. Also, all of our machines here use the same universal icon-based graphic user interface. So that means an operator who's familiar with one Horizon machine can easily step over to the next finishing line and, let's say, work a perfect binder or a folder as well. So to get us started today, why don't we step into our showroom, and I'm going to bring everybody to our first finishing solution. Over here, we have the Horizon Smart Stacker. The Smart Stacker is a cut sheet processing system that can cut, collate, and stack your B2 sheets down to finished format size of all the way to 100 millimeters by 105 millimeters with up to 28 up in position. Today, we're going to be working with our pallet feeder, and thanks to Fujifilm's JetPress 750S, all of our jobs today have been digitally collated so we can do full variable printing and get those shops exactly what they need with no overhead wasted. The machine can also be run in line with select upstream devices. We have 920 millimeters here in the feeder, and that's perfect for doing long runs or putting multiple shorter runs onto a single lift. Okay, so we're going to start up the machine here so you can see everything going. Job setup today is going to be fully automated thanks to the barcode reader at the in-feed section. That's going to scan every parent sheet coming in, and that will recall job information such as our collating order, our blank sheet rejection, and our finished format size. Now, Fujifilm presses are, of course, known for their very exact registration, and the Horizon Smart Stacker follows suit with our first registration unit where every single page is fed in one by one. So maybe we can have Nakai-san move over to our registration section there, and we'll be able to see our pages coming through. Okay, so after our sheets exit the registration unit, we head into our first processing unit where our sheets are cut and split in the direction of travel. You can have up to 6 gutter cuts and 2 edge trims for a total of 7 individual strips. Now, after the first processing unit, the sheets move over into our 90-degree turn conveyor and then are re-registered on the long edge for transfer to the second process unit for gutter cut and trim to final size. The machine just finished changeovers on another job and is reading that barcode, so we'll have another piece of paper coming through now. In the second processing unit, we can have a maximum of 3 gutters and 2 edge trims performed to bring us up to 4 cut pieces across with full bleed if required. Now I'm going to bring up some animation on the screen right now. So the Smart Stacker gives you the flexibility to end one job and start another job on the same sheet, which means reduce blank pages on a given imposition. In cases where blank pages cannot be avoided, there is a feature between the second process unit and merge conveyor, which rejects any blank pages. Okay, we can come back to our live camera here now. And while we go back to our second processing unit, you see our pages coming through. Oh, and they've already been collated and stacked. So after exiting the second processing unit, they move over onto our unique conveying system, which merges the individual cut pieces into collated order. To maximize the speed of the Smart Stacker, the merge unit uses a dual transport system, which automatically diverts between an upper and lower path to facilitate efficient collation. Lastly, the collated merge sheets are stacked in order at the stacker unit. We have 3 different stacking options: offset stack, straight stack, and book block delivery. The maximum stack height is 254 millimeters. Today, we're doing offset stacking, and you can see the finished stacks exiting the output conveyor for easy packaging into those beautiful Hycon boxes created on the earlier segment of the Real Production Show. Okay, now we know that not every shop needs or can justify a smart stacker on their production floor. However, we believe that just about every customer can take advantage of one of our customer favorites, the RD series of rotary die cutters. The RD rotary die cutters use magnetic cylinders in combination with thin, flexible metal dies to die cut, kiss cut, crease, perforate, and emboss all in a single pass. Just think about all the space that you save using one machine to do all of that work, whereas traditionally you would need to have something like a letter press, a vertical press, a high die system, or even a flatbed working in combination to produce the same type of work. So here we can see the RD is capable of producing everything from business cards. Here we have some stickers or labels if you wanted, and you can notice we don't have any embossing on the back side there. That's how accurate our registration and our die cutter is for stickers. I'm going to put that guy right on there. I think that looks good. We can also produce small packaging, like we have some candy boxes here, desktop calendars, and recently we've been using the RD rotary die cutter to produce plastic eye shields and face shields for donation to local medical facilities to help fight the coronavirus. Now the machine can handle parent sheet sizes of 400 millimeters wide by 550 millimeters long and produce up to and finish up to 6,000 parent sheets per hour. Just like the Smart Stacker, we do have the option of putting a barcode reader at the in-feed section of the RD to recall job information stored in memory, such as batch size, conveyor speed, and more. Okay, so today our imposition is going to be 8 up, and we've set up the job so that we have 2 completed sets every few sheets. So right now we're going to start up the machine, and you'll be able to see our sheets coming through here. Okay, so today we're running in line with our brand new card stacker. This is a new addition to the RD rotary die cutter system. So here you can see the sheets moving along our new separator unit as well and entering the card stacker. Yes, now what the card stacker does is it allows the operator to easily take our finished product off of the delivery section and place it into one of your boxes. On a traditional die cutter, you'd usually have maybe 2 operators on the delivery end that would have to manually collect and jog the sheets coming through on a shingled or overlaid delivery system. However, by using this card stacking system, we're able to have a single operator easily take off our finished product, therefore reducing touch points and therefore reducing your labor costs. You'll also be able to notice that today we produced these round corner postcards, which add value and style to the finished product. With the RD, you're also able to have a repeat register function on that magnetic cylinder. So I'm going to play that animation right now. I'm going to assume that it's playing. So with the repeat register function, you have the option of using a half size die, which reduces your die cost by 50% and saves you space on your storage. The repeat function strikes the sheet once, keeps the sheet in place, re-registers, and then strikes again to finish your produced product. Okay, coming back over here, we actually have 2 new sensors on the machine as well. We have a sensor at the in-feed or at the delivery section here, right on the card stacker, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And we also have our sensors 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on our new separator unit. What these sensors do are count the finished pieces crossing their path and alerts the operator if there's a missing piece in the stripping section. So let's say you're doing Christmas cards or you're doing sporting tickets, something where you need to have the exact amount or you don't want to have batches mixed up. If the machine notices that we have a piece missing somewhere in the stripping section, it will pause the machine, not only tell the operator that they're missing a piece, but tell them which stack they're missing from. This gives the operator the opportunity to go find that missing piece and place it in the correct stack, making sure that you have exactly what you need when you need it. I think that's all from us here in Japan, Mark, but now I'd be happy to answer any questions from people there in the audience.
That's good. Yeah, please stay around. And Colin, when you pack up those postcards and send them back, can you put in a few sheets of stickers for me?
Absolutely. I'll get you our lion stickers.
I'm envious of your stickers. So I'm going to ask the guys in Brussels to join too. And we've got some questions come in. So let's see if we can answer some of these questions. The first one I've got is from Stephanie. And obviously she saw in that recap video I played, Kim, the pile turner. She's saying, is the pile turner essential use for jet press?
It's not essential, but yeah, of course it makes the job easier, especially if you have a lot of production jobs. It makes it much faster, and the advantage is that while you're turning the pile, you can continue printing.
Okay, so you're not stopping to just wait for it. Okay, that makes sense. And Colin and Yunsan, we have one here about the Smart Stacker from Lindsay, who says he or she, don't know, can the Smart Stacker glue book blocks for feeding into perfect binders?
Oh, that's a great question. As we talked about earlier, the Smart Stacker is a cut sheet processing unit, and we don't have a gluing option on the Smart Stacker. However, I do want you to follow me. That's a great question, Lindsay. Right now, we are preparing for our Horizon Smart Factory event, which is going to start tomorrow. You can check out our LinkedIn page to find the registration more. And we're actually running the Smart Stacker in line today with the new BQ500 4-clamp perfect binder from Horizon and a newly developed, this has not even been announced anywhere yet, this is the Loose Sheet Book Block Feeder 500 or LBF 500. And with this solution, we're able to feed in any type of book block, be it sewn, glued, or loose sheet directly into our perfect binder. We have our loose sheets come into the LBF. They're jogged in 3 different stations before a robotic arm feeds them into the clamp. So you don't need to have an operator manually putting in and calibrating your book block. So this is a solution. If you want to learn more about this, sign up for Horizon Smart Factory tomorrow and for the next 6 days. I'd be happy to tell you more. Thank you, Lindsay.
Okay, yeah, I'm signed up for that. I'll be joining at 7 a.m. local time to watch that.
I'll have a cup of coffee ready for you.
Thank you. Okay, let's take another one for JetPress from Andre, who says, does the JetPress need many adjustments when printing board that's different on each side, like coated on one side, uncoated on the other?
Martin, I will answer that one. No, not many adjustments are actually needed. So we are able to print the uncoated side and immediately print the coated side. Depends a little bit on your production, which side you're printing first, but actually that doesn't really matter in which order you are printing this. So yeah, it's quite easy to do.
So I think the main difference would be that likely you would have a different color profile being fed from the prepress to ensure optimal color.
Okay, good. And obviously you're changing your side lay.
Of course.
Of course. I'm learning things, you see. That's good.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah.
We're running over time a little, but there are some questions here, so I'll continue. If you want to stick around, people who are watching, I'll give you one, Colin, here from Simon. What's the lifespan of a die on the rotary die cutter?
The lifespan on die on a rotary die cutter, obviously that's going to depend on the type of substrate that you're working with, be it thin sheets, be it thicker sheets. However, we do usually see, I would say about 1 million strikes for every die plate. So they're quite durable.
Okay, that sounds good. Okay, one more question for JetPress then. What special file preparations are needed for JetPress compared with preparing files for offset? And that's from Matt. Does he prepare his files in the same way as he would for offset?
Basically, yes. So we are using the XMF workflow, which is both used to go to a plate setter for the offset and for JetPress. So the impositions and all these settings can be used in a similar way. The difference would be, of course, your color profiles and some other things. And of course, that we can print in a different way. We can print collate or variable data. So all that information can also be sent along to JetPress. Anything you want to add, Kim?
No, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, one thing I'll add from some experience we had printing samples is that because JetPress has a wide color gamut, then supplying files in RGB allows us to get a lot better color out of the files than we would with a CMYK split file.
Yes.
If you're looking for that wide color gamut.
Yeah, that's correct. If you want to match your offset press, you won't do that because your offset press will never reach that color gamut.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a question, Colin, from Shane, and it's almost like a tongue twister. I think he's posed this because he wants a tongue twister. How many business cards can the Smart Stacker stack?
How many business cards can the Smart Stacker stack? That's a great question. In our card stacker, you can have up to 50 millimeters on your stack height in the card stacker. Yeah, 50 millimeters, 5 centimeters. I'm American. So you can have up to 50 millimeters there in the card stacker. So depending on the type of card stock you're working with, you can have quite a big pile going out there. Yeah. All depends on the type of substrate. Yeah.
Okay. One more question. We've got a bit of time. What is the maximum finished card size the card stacker can handle?
Okay, yeah, so on the card stacker, you can actually go all the way up to A4 finish size. So if you're producing something like A4 tab dividers for your different types of folders, your ring binders and whatnot, we'll still be able to handle that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, I think we've run out of questions. I think we've certainly run out of time. We've nearly gone up to the hour. So only remains for me to say thank you to everybody who's joined us. Thanks for explaining all that equipment. We've been educated. So until the next show, whatever we do, we'll say goodbye. Look out for the next Real Production show. Let me just show you some contact details here. So the next Real Production show will be sometime towards the end of November or beginning of December. We haven't set a date yet. If you want some more information, then you see some web addresses on the screen there that are pretty simple to remember. If you want a pack of cards, then you can still go to the website and order cards. And if you've attended this show, we will send you an email when the show finishes, and we'll also send you a link to watch it all again, if in case you want to rewatch something that's on there. So thanks, guys. Thanks very much.
Thank you,
Good to have you along.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
See you again soon. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
See you soon.